don't stay. This happened 2 years ago, when I took a temporary night shift job at a gas station in the middle of the Arizona desert. It wasn't a big chain, just a lonely station with a small diner attached, surrounded by miles of sand and silence. The only thing that kept me sane was the humming of the coolers and the soft crackle of the radio that never seemed to get a clear signal. The manager, Carl, warned me during my first day, "Is greater than, lock the doors after midnight. You'll get the occasional drifter or trucker, but if someone comes on foot, don't let them in." I thought he was just being overly cautious, but he didn't smile when he said it. The first few nights were uneventful. A few truckers stopped by, some families on late-night drives, and then nothing but darkness and wind. But on the fourth night, around 2:30 a.m., I noticed something strange. There were footprints outside the station, bare footprints leading away from the front door and disappearing into the desert. I hadn't seen anyone come in on foot, and no cars had stopped for almost an hour. When I stepped outside with my flashlight, the prints looked fresh, pressed deep into the dust. That night, the air felt heavier. Around 3:10, the radio started crackling. Then a voice, soft, almost whispering, came through. "Is greater than... help. Stuck. Please." I froze. It wasn't a station. It sounded like an open mic. I tried replying, but it only hissed back static. I turned the volume down and locked the office door. At 3:25, someone knocked. Not a regular knock, 3 soft taps. Then silence. I checked the cameras. The front door camera showed nothing but sand blowing across the pavement. No one there. I was shaking a little. I turned the sign to closed and sat in the office, keeping the lights dim. Then, from the monitor, I noticed movement behind the station. A figure standing near the dumpster, completely still. The camera quality was bad, but I could make out long, dark hair and pale skin, almost glowing under the floodlight. I grabbed the phone to call Carl, but the line was dead. When I looked back at the screen, the figure was gone. I checked all windows, all doors, every lock, everything was fine. But when I came back to the counter, there was a small handprint on the glass, pressed from the outside. Tiny, like a child's hand. I wiped it off, trying to tell myself it was just dirt. But when I turned around, there was another one. Higher up, that's when the power cut out. Pitch black silence. No hum from the coolers, no radio static, nothing. Just the wind howling outside. I grabbed my flashlight and aimed it toward the glass doors. Something was standing just beyond the light. I couldn't see its face, but I knew it was looking right at me. The flashlight flickered. For half a second, I saw what looked like a woman barefoot, wearing a torn white dress, her eyes reflecting the beam like an animal's. Then she was gone. The power came back 5 minutes later. Everything looked normal again. Carl came in the morning and saw my face. He didn't even ask. He just nodded and said quietly, "Is greater than, you saw her, didn't you?" He told me the story about a woman who'd vanished on that same stretch of road 20 years ago after her car broke down near mile 89. Locals say she still walks the desert, barefoot, looking for help. I quit that night. A few weeks later, I drove past that gas station again just to see. The place was boarded up. No lights, no pumps, nothing but a faded sign in the sand. The strange part, someone had drawn a small handprint on the closed forever sign, in dust. When I moved into my first apartment in Portland, Oregon, I thought I got a great deal. Small, affordable, and in a quiet neighborhood. The building was old but cozy, with big windows facing a narrow alleyway. My next-door neighbor, an older man named Mr. Lorne, introduced himself the first day I arrived. He was polite, maybe a little too friendly, always smiling, always offering to help me settle in. I figured he was just lonely. The first week went fine, but I started noticing something strange. Every night around 2 or 3 a.m., I'd wake up feeling like someone was watching me. I glanced at the window, but the curtains were closed. I tell myself it was just nerves, new place, unfamiliar sounds, creaky pipes. Then one night, I forgot to close the curtains. At around 2:30, I woke up again. The streetlight outside flickered through my blinds, and I could feel it, someone staring. I slowly turned my head toward the window. Across the narrow alley, through his own window, stood Mr. Lorne. He wasn't moving. He was just standing in the dark, looking directly at me. I froze. After a few seconds, I pulled my blanket over my head, pretending not to notice. The next morning, I convinced myself maybe he'd just been looking outside, maybe he couldn't even see me. But the next night, it happened again. This time, I made sure the lights in my room were off before bed. Still, I woke up 2:46 a.m. and felt that same heavy stare. When I peeked, he was there again, standing motionless in his window. But something was different. He was holding something. It looked like a camera. I snapped, the blinds shut, and barely slept. In the morning, I went to the landlord. She frowned and said, "That apartment's been empty for months. Mr. Lorne moved out in May." It was August. I didn't believe her at first. I'd talked to him. He gave me coffee once. She showed me the lease records. The unit was vacant, and the key hadn't been used in weeks. That night, I taped my blinds shut. Around 3 a.m., I heard a soft scraping sound on my window. Not from outside, from inside. I turned on the light. The tape on my blinds had been peeled back from the bottom, like someone had reached in. My apartment door was still locked. I grabbed my phone and called the police. They came within 10 minutes, searched the place, and checked the next door apartment. It was empty. No furniture, no smell, no sign of anyone living there. But on the dusty floor near the window, they found 2 footprints, bare, facing mine. The officer asked if I had ever let anyone in. I said no. He looked at me and said quietly, "Is greater than, you should move out. Tonight." I did. I packed everything in the trunk and left before sunrise. A week later, I checked the news out of curiosity. The headline read, "Is greater than, abandoned apartment in Portland linked to missing person case, police find hidden crawl space." I didn't read the rest, but sometimes, when I wake up at night in my new place, I still feel that same heavy stare, like someone, somewhere, still knows exactly when I'm asleep. I was driving across New Mexico last summer, heading from El Paso to Santa Fe for work. It was late, almost midnight, and I was too tired to finish the trip. I pulled into this small roadside motel called the Sandridge Inn, the kind of place with flickering neon signs and rooms that smell like bleach and cigarette smoke. The manager was an older woman, friendly but distant. She handed me a key and
Room
said,
6.
"Room 6.
Walls are thin.
Don't mind the noise, next door walls are thin." I didn't think much of it. The motel was nearly empty. My room had a single bed, an old TV, and faded yellow curtains. I took a shower, lay down, and turned off the lights. That's when I heard a faint whisper through the wall. At first, I thought it was the TV from the next room, but it wasn't random noise, it was words. I pressed my ear to the wall and heard a woman's voice saying,
"Help me."
"Please, help me." It sent a chill down my spine. I banged on the wall and said, "You okay in there?"
"Please help me."
The whisper stopped. A few seconds later, there was a knock, not on my door, but from inside the wall. 3 slow, hollow knocks.
"You okay in there?"
The sound came again, softer this time, followed by the same voice whispering, "Don't let her in." I jumped up, grabbed my phone, and turned on the flashlight.
"Don't let her in."
Thick, heavy. Then someone knocked on my actual door, this time from outside. "Sir? Everything okay?" It was the motel manager's voice.
Everything
I didn't
okay?
move. Something about her tone felt wrong. She sounded calm, too calm.
Sir, open up.
The knocking continued. "Sir, open up." I heard you shouting, but the voice in the wall whispered again, more desperate now.
Please don't open it.
"Is greater than, please, don't open it." I backed away from the door. The handle rattled. Someone tried to push it open. I shouted, "Go away! I'm calling the police!" Silence. A few minutes later, I gathered enough courage to peek through the curtain. The office light was off. The parking lot was empty. Not a single car, not even the manager's. I packed my bag and under a minute, ran outside and threw everything into my car. But before I drove off, I looked back at the motel. Every room was dark except room 5, the one next to mine. Its light was flickering, and in the window, for just a second, I saw a woman's face, pale, frightened, staring right at me. She mouthed the same words, is greater than, "Don't let her in." I left the parking lot so fast, I almost hit the sign. When I stopped for gas a few miles later, I told the clerk about what happened.
I don't know what to do. I
He
need help.
frowned and said quietly,
All right,
"It's
let's figure
greater
this
than
out.
the Sandridge Inn burned down in 2019.
The
Nobody's
Sandridge
run it
Inn
since."
burned down in
I
2019.
laughed, thinking he was joking, until he pulled out his phone and showed me a picture. The building in the photo was blackened, roof collapsed, windows shattered, but there was no mistaking it. The same red neon sign, the same parking lot, the same row of rooms. I drove the rest of the night without stopping. To this day, I don't know who or what whispered through that wall, but sometimes, when I stay in a motel, I still find myself listening carefully to the silence, just in case it whispers back.